What is up, guys? MeatyLock here, and today we are back in action on another mod spotlight. Today we're taking a look at the mod Immersive Engineering. It is a really cool mod. I've been waiting for it for a while. I'm sure a lot of you guys have. There's kind of like a lot of hype because he wouldn't release this mod until he thought it was kind of like at a stable version, or at least at like a, I don't know, a semi-completed version of whatever his personal, completion is or whatever. I'm not really sure. The only way this has been available is on Forgecraft, so all the Forgecraft guys got to play with that. I know Direwolf and stuff did some videos. I haven't watched a single thing on this, and I haven't seen any other mod spotlights, so I don't know if I'm going to be the first one or not, but I've been playing with this mod. It came out at about 11 hours ago. I've been playing with it for about the past probably 3-4 hours or so, just trying to get a basic understanding of what this is all about. So we're going to go through. I don't know if I'm going to split this up or if we are going to do this all in one video. Let's go ahead and get started. Now, I think the most important thing to kind of understand, everything else I feel like in the mod is kind of self-explanatory. The most, I feel like the hardest thing to actually understand is the way the power works. Now, this is compatible with RF. Actually, it is RF pretty much. It uses like the RF API, so it transfers RF and does all that kind of stuff. Also, important thing to note is all their machines is compatible with RF, so that means you don't even have to use these power lines or anything like that. You can use normal thermal expansion lines, whatever else you can think of. And you don't have to use their capacitors or anything. You can use these guys. You can use pretty much anything you want and interchange it however you want. But we're going to go ahead and explain what this is. Now, there's 3 different types of wires in this. There's copper, electrum, and high voltage. So pretty much this mod has low voltage, medium voltage, and high voltage. Low voltage transfers 256 RF a tick, medium does 1024 RF a tick, and high does 4096 RF a tick. Now, if you guys are familiar with IC2, then you might understand the low, medium, high, because it has some of the kind of the same functionality as IC2, where you have to, if you want to convert between the other types of power, you have to use transformers and stuff like that. Now, these guys actually, they're not like normal cables. If I try to click on the right ground right here, it doesn't actually do anything. You're going to need these things called wire connectors or relays pretty much. There's 3 different types of relays. Well, I guess 4 different types, but there's low voltage, medium voltage, and high voltage. They do not interchange with each other, so I can't do like a medium voltage and a high voltage like right here, or a medium voltage and a low voltage, and I can't cook up cable to these guys. It doesn't work. They have to kind of stay on their same frequency here. So these guys are both low voltage. The copper is low voltage, so I can right click right here and then right click right here. Now these guys have a max distance of 17 blocks. I don't know why it's 17 blocks. So the low and medium has a max distance of 17 blocks. You try to go 1 block farther, it says it can't connect. And then the max distance of the high voltage is 33 blocks. You try to go 1 more and it can't connect. As I said, I've been doing a lot of research. Now these guys, high voltage is a little bit different from low and medium. Low and medium are pretty much exactly the same pretty much. So if we want to like have like a power line or something, we can just connect lines all the way across right here, and just we can go out as many blocks as we want. Now Immersive Engineering does have a cool little telephone pole thing that you can use. Let me see if I can. Oh, it's just this thing right here. This guy right here, it's called a wooden post. You can use this, and it's meant to just be like a decorative block. You can right click with the hammer and have these little things come out however you want it to come out and stuff like that. I guess it can only do 2 sides, but we can just do something like, you can stick the LV connections right here, and you can do like a power line sort of thing that looks really cool. Let's see. Also, I thought there was another way to orientate this as well. Let's see. Is there another way to orientate this? I thought there was. But yeah, you can do stuff like that. And the medium voltage works exactly like this, where you can do that. Now the high voltage is a little bit different. You have to use these things. So these guys also work as these wire connectors. They work as inputs and outputs. So if I want to input or output to a machine, I just stick it onto that machine, like this resonant energy cell here, or whatever else that's in thermal expansion or immersive engineering. So you just stick these guys like on top of a machine on any side. They work on any side. You can stick them sideways, upside down, wherever you want. You hook up a wire to them and they'll input and output. Now the HV wire connector, these guys, they look exactly the same, but they only input and output. they don't transfer across lines like this, like the low voltage and medium voltage does. Now, if I take the high voltage wire, you can see I can connect one right here, but this is all I connect. If I try to connect these guys, they don't actually connect. And so you can only use these as kind of like an input and output sort of thing. So what you have to use for high voltage are these things called HV wire relays. Now, this took me a while to figure out. I was like, this doesn't make any sense, because like the first two have a certain functionality, then the third one is just completely different. But as you can see, you can transfer these HV relays, or these connectors, onto these relays right here. And multiple connections can go to the relays, and they have to be placed upside down. The relays have to be placed upside down. If I try to place it right side up, it doesn't work. So if I'm going to go ahead and just delete these guys, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Boom! And then we can just do something like this, and maybe, you know, put it like right here, and then we'll put it like right here. Boom. And then we'll connect this. So we'll connect this guy. Oh, I did not want to do that. Okay, so we'll connect this guy to like right there, and then we'll connect this guy to right there, so they're both connected to this, so they're both transferring power from these guys. I'll get into what these guys are later. And then this guy will transfer over to here, and then this guy will transfer over to here, and then we could have this go into like anything else we wanted. Like if we wanted to have this go into a resonant energy cell, we could. So I could stick a high capacity thing right there and just do something like this, and then there we go. We'd be transferring power into this guy. As you can see, the power's going up on Whaler right there. Now, okay, so that's pretty much the basics of how the way this works. Now, there's also low, medium, and high voltages of everything else. To transfer between them, you have to use these things called transformers. There's two different types of transformers. There's this guy right here, which I don't... Yeah, you can place this on the ground as well. So you can either place the transformer on the ground and it looks like this, or on the post right here and it looks kind of like a normal transformer, which is really cool. Now, the HV transformer can only be placed on the ground. And the difference between this guy and the HV is this guy can only transfer medium voltage to low voltage. So as you see, I have a medium voltage connection here, and we hook the wire from this to the top, and then I have a low voltage connection here, and it hooks from right here to right here. To connect this, for the medium voltage connector to the top of the transformer here, you need medium voltage wire. So all the wires, like I said before, have to kind of like stay together. And then to connect the medium, or this guy, so it transforms medium voltage to low voltage, you have to use the low wire right there. So yeah. And then you'll just kind of like click on the sides like that and stuff like that. So yeah, so the difference is this transformer can do medium to low. The high voltage transformer can do any combination. It can go from high to low, medium to low, high to medium, low to high, you know, just everything it can do. And it has to be put on the ground right here, I'm pretty sure. Or I think if you put it up on a post, it just acts like this guy right here. I'm almost positive. But yeah, that's pretty much how the basic power system works. There's also capacitors. There's LV capacitors, MV capacitors, and HV capacitors. These guys are pretty much just like they store RF. So if you look right here, you'll see the LV capacitor stores 100,000 RF. The MV capacitor stores 1 million RF, and then the HV stores 4 million RF. So yeah, they work pretty much just like energy cells or whatever. Sticking high voltage like these guys to low voltage things doesn't really matter. They're not going to explode, and the only difference between the high, medium, and low is that they carry different types of current. So they transfer more or less power. Okay, so now that we've covered the basics of the way power works, let's go ahead and look at power generation. Now, the first tier of power, I would say everyone's probably going to start off with, is probably kinetic energy. Now, when I say kinetic, I mean things that move, that generate power. There's different types of kinetic energy generators here. We have the windmills. There's two different types of windmills. There's the normal windmill and the improved windmill. The normal windmill is going to produce half the amount of power as the improved windmill, but it is a lot easier to make and probably best for when you're first starting. Now, these guys, they look really cool. They do the spinning animation, do all that kind of stuff. Also, they're going to need a lot of room in front of them and around them. They're not the type of things that you can just like stack, for example. Like this, I don't think this is going to work too well. Now, you can do this. I don't think it works too well, though. Yeah. Now, they have to be connected to a kinetic dynamo. The windmills and then also the water mill have to be connected to the kinetic dynamo. And then the kinetic dynamo, the top input here, is where you actually output the power at. So, you can either use the normal power generation, but for example's sake, we are just going to put a resonant energy cell right here. So, so we have this much power in it right now. Let's just say input from the bottom, and you'll see this power is actually increasing right now. Let's go ahead and get rid of this guy. And we'll see that, you know, it's not bad. The higher up you place the windmills in the world, the more power they are going to produce. And they also produce more power, I think, when it's raining and storming. So the best conditions is find a rainy and stormy area and put it as high all the way up to the build limit. And you'll probably be producing quite a lot of power. It'll probably be pretty good. Now, another thing, another kinetic energy generator, now that we've talked about windmills, is there's water mills. Or water wheels, I should say. Now, these guys are pretty much just like the windmills. They spin, and what makes them spin, instead of air, water makes them spin. Now, to get max efficiency, you need to put a water source block on the top of these guys and have it flow all the way around them. As you can see, I built this little steel casing scaffolding structure, and then I have water going all the way around the edge, and so it's hitting all areas of the water wheel right here. So yeah, I think this pretty much produces the max amount of power it can. Now, these guys, you can actually stack. Unlike the windmills, you can stack these guys. So you can just have one, you can have two, or you can have three. Now, I don't think it works anything after 3. I haven't actually tested it, but the book says 3 is the max you can have. So I'm going to believe that. I don't know. Maybe you guys will have to test it for yourselves, but I'm pretty sure 3 is the max. That's what the book says. And then these guys, I think, by default, I think they produce a little bit more energy than the windmills. But, I mean, I'm sure the windmills would produce as much or more if they were, like, super high in the sky. So yeah, these guys are also a great alternative. The next type of power generation we have is thermal. Now, these guys are called Thermoelectric Generators. And they produce power by the differences between 2 liquids or the differences between 2 blocks. So you want a really hot liquid like lava and a really cool liquid like water. Also, it works with big reactors, so it has a big reactor compatibility. If we go back and look in the book here and we look at Thermoelectric Generator, you'll see that you can use ice, uranium, yellorium, and plutonium as blocks. So you could use plutonium right here, and then we could use ice as the other block, and it would produce power. So we do something like that. There we go. And this, guys, you'll see it'll be producing power. And then, as I said, water and lava works. And also, I have cryothium and pyrotheum right here, and this guy works as well. And I'm assuming the biggest differences between the liquids is what's probably going to produce the most power. So this guy might be pretty far up there. I'm not sure. I haven't really tested any other combinations, and I'm sure there are a bunch of combinations that I don't have here that would also work really well. So it looks like this, I mean, this would work really well. That's pretty cool. Now, another way to produce power is the diesel generator. This guy is really cool. It's a multi-block structure. It looks really fancy. And I'd say the models in this mod are freaking awesome. I love that they have so many different multi-block structures. Like, in the next part of this this tutorial, or whatever, we're going to be showing all the other machines, and a lot of them are multi-blocks. But this guy is really cool. It's a diesel generator. It can take biodiesel, which is produced in Immersive Engineering using a combination of things. We'll get in that later. And then also, it can use fuel from Buildcraft. And I haven't tried any other fuels, but I'm assuming any sort of maybe, like, ethanol or biofuel, stuff like that, that might work in the diesel generator. I'm not 100% sure, but it might. But I know for a fact that Buildcraft fuel does work, and then obviously its own biodiesel does work. Now, the way you build this is it is a multi-block structure. Is you want to do a 3x3 of these radiator blocks, and then you also need heavy engineering blocks and generator blocks. Let's go ahead and do this guy. And then the heavy engineering blocks are going to be a 3x3x3. There we go. And then the generator blocks are going to be a 2x2. Now, once you got that done, you'll need an engineer's hammer, and you just right-click the back, and it forms the multi-block, which is pretty sweet. Now, these guys will accept fuel from these little outputs right here on the bottom left and then the bottom right. These are fuel inputs right here. So you can stick any type of fuel in there, like the biodiesel, any way you want to, and it'll start getting fuel. Once it receives fuel and has a way to output power, it'll start producing power. Now the top parts here is there's 3 different slots. The biodiesel generator produces 4,096 RF a tick, so that's high voltage. So you'll need high voltage wires if you want to take full advantage of all of that power. Or you can just stick like a resonant energy cell or something on top of this guy and it'll work just as well. And it has these 3 slots to do that in. You can stick the energy cell on all 3 of them. Let's do energy. Yeah, just like this, you can stick in all 3 slots and they'll all accept power. So you'd obviously have to tell these guys to be input, and then you'd have to give them fuel and stuff, but it'd output all 3 slots. Also, a lot of machines have this little guy right here, and these are actually lever toggles. So if we take a lever right here, we can stick it on the side, and you can manually turn the levers on and off. And you can even do a complicated setup with whatever, RedNet or ComputerCraft, to say like to read whatever your fuel is. If your fuel is less than like 10%, tell it to turn the biodiesel off. Or if your energy is greater than 90%, then to, like turn this off, and that kind of stuff. You can do all that kind of stuff. It's kind of cool that this has a redstone input, and it's really, really neat. I really like the animation for this. It has a little smoke coming out, and then this guy right here with the blade that spins is really cool. Now, the last type of power generation currently included in this mod, I'm assuming this is an early mod, and it's pretty much an alpha or beta right now, so this is very early development, and they're probably going to be adding a bunch more stuff. But the last power generation as of this moment is the lightning rod. Now, the lightning rod does exactly what it sounds like. You have to build the lightning rod base using these guys in a 3x3 square. Then you take the hammer and you just right-click the middle, and it has this guy. And then you take steel fences, and you can just go crazy with them. Just put them everywhere. The more steel fences you have, the higher of a chance it has of being struck by lightning, and every time it's struck by lightning, it converts all the lightning energy into RF. So these bases will fill up with energy, and then you'll pretty much have lightning energy, which is really cool. So find a stormy biome and make sure you have thousands of steel fences, and you'll probably be producing a lot of energy. That would be really awesome. And that's pretty much everything I wanted to show you guys for the first part of the video. We talked about the way power works and then the way to generate power, and I'm assuming these features will change over time, but right now that's exactly the way all this stuff works, and it's freaking awesome. I love it. Now, a few extra things is you do have wire cutters. You can just cut the wire and do that kind of stuff if you want to, maybe replace it with something else. Also, you have the engineer's hammer. The engineer's hammer is pretty much just like a wrench. It's how you complete multi-blocks, and also how you do some other stuff too. Like I showed you guys with the fence posts, you can actually have little outcroppings come out and do stuff like that. And then there's also the engineer's voltmeter. You can right-click on stuff, and it'll show you where it's connected, stuff like that. So that's pretty awesome. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed the first part of this video, make sure to go and click the like button. I'd really appreciate it. I love y'all's faces, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Also, make sure to click the like button if you enjoyed, and if you found any of this information useful, that'd be freaking awesome. Also, I have links down in the description where you can download this mod and play with it for yourself.